Hey guys, it's Brooke. So this is the beginning of a new series that I'm starting in 2019. Now, everyone knows that I love Fleetwood Mac, but your girl right here loves some Buckingham Nicks post-1975 Fleetwood Mac. Some of the most frequent comments I get are people asking me what I think of pre-Buckingham Nicks Fleetwood Mac. I've had some that are less than friendly telling me that I don't even know about pre-Buckingham Nicks Fleetwood Mac or the original Fleetwood Mac. And honestly, they're not wrong. Now, I've really loved Fleetwood Mac for over 3 years now, and I have never listened all the way through every album that does not feature Lindsay and Stevie, and that is way overdue. So for every month of 2019, I'm going to be in-depth reviewing an album. There are 9 pre-Buckingham Nicks Fleetwood Mac albums. I'm also going to include Christine McVie's album with Chicken Shack, the Christine Perfect album, and Buckingham Nicks, all in chronological order, leading up to the Fleetwood Mac that I fell in love with. And by the end of this year, I will have all of my bases covered in that department. So for January, I tackled the debut, which is the first of 2 self-titled albums that Fleetwood Mac has released in their career. This album is now more commonly known as Fleetwood Mac 1968 or Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be calling it Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. Before I start my actual review, let's take a little bit of a look at the background of the band at the time of the album's release. Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac was released on February 24th, 1968. At the time of their debut, Fleetwood Mac was actually nothing but a group of ex-members of John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. The Blues Breakers are actually most well known for having had Eric Clapton in their lineup, but Peter Green, John McVie, and Mick Fleetwood were all actually in the Blues Breakers longer than Clapton was. I actually did not know this history before doing research for this video. And it's actually really funny because a few weeks before I started doing research to put this video together, I actually listened to the Blues Breakers debut album as a part of Eric Clapton's discography. I was like absolutely dumbfounded when I found out that Mick and John had been playing on the album as well. But in this time, Peter Green had gained traction in the British blues rock scene for being the one to replace Eric Clapton. He insisted upon forming Fleetwood Mac that there be another guitarist and vocalist in the group to take some of the attention away from him. Thus, Jeremy Spencer joined the lineup. This album was a domestic success in the United Kingdom, reaching number 4 on the charts, and it has the legacy of being one of the best projects to come out of the British blues boom of the 1960s. I had listened to parts of this album before in an attempt to get into pre-Buckingham Nicks Fleetwood Mac, but none of the songs had really ever stood out to me. However, I had never fully given this album a chance, which is what I did this month. As I go into this, please keep in mind that this is solely my opinion from a critical point of view. My opinion is completely influenced by my personal taste, and if you disagree with what I say, that does not by any means make your opinion wrong. My goal on this channel is absolutely never to degrade anyone else in their work or make anyone else feel guilty about their music taste. Music taste is subjective, and this just happens to be mine. The first track, My Heart Beat Like a Hammer, opens very roughly. I always tend to like this in albums, especially on the first track of an album. I really like the yes in the very beginning of this too. I know that I'm the queen of making comparisons that like don't actually make sense to other people, but the kind of rough opening of this and the way they're talking in the studio reminds me of the beginning of Give It Away by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and people are probably gonna click off of this video now, but this is my opinion. It's my opinion! The song's lyrics capture someone waking up and instantly regretting how they treated someone the night before. It describes the pain of the situation feeling like a hammer to the chest. Its lyrics are very simple, as are most of the lyrics on this album. My favorites being, she's been gone about an hour, but it seems like 1,000 years. However, none of the lyrics particularly stood out to me. They do a well enough job of telling the story, but there really are not any quotable lines from the song. Where the song really shines is in the instrumentals, which is not a shock considering the background of the members of the band. The guitar work on this song is what makes it. Overall though, this song grew over me over time and was one of my favorites on the album. This song also has the rough opening, which kind of almost makes it seem like demos more so at this point, at least as opposed to being a mastered EP. The opening of this song reminds me of that song that's always in Febreze commercials. And the opening lyric of this song has cracked me up ever since I first started listening to it. When I first met you, baby, I didn't even know your name. Do you typically know someone's name when you very first meet them? However, you can definitely feel Mick and John's rhythm section on this song. The most impressive part is the break in the middle that's just instrumental with the ad-lib speaking every once in a while. I really enjoy that part of the song. I really love Peter Green's vocals when they come out of that instrumental break and he says, "Take my hand, baby, now you hold it tight and don't let go." That is a beautiful line of vocals. But overall, this song is not memorable, and it was songs like this that kept me from having a desire to come back to this album. It wasn't that I hated listening to it, it was just that I would rather not. I would think, what do I need to do for YouTube? And then I would think, oh yeah, I need to work on the Fleetwood Mac stuff. And then I would put it off. I'm gonna be brutally honest, I cannot stand this song. At least I hate the lyrical content. Every time I hear it, I want to skip it. The premise is just kind of asinine, in my opinion. I know this sounds really harsh. Let me preface by saying that I completely understand that this is the theme of most songs today, and that this is still overall composed and presented better than many of the songs with the same meaning. But the entire meaning of the song is basically, this woman won't sleep with him and he's upset. That's it. That's the point. They ride, no pun intended, this metaphor for 2 whole minutes, where they say over and over again that this woman is a horse who will not be ridden. I don't know if, like, at the time this was discreet, but 50 years later it is not. Is it supposed to be a compliment that she's a long gray mare? Because I'm really not sure. Really, I just don't know, but I can't stand it, I'm sorry. And the absolute tragedy is that this song has the catchiest tune of the entire album. I love the instrumental of this song so much, but I just will not sacrifice listening to the lyrics to hear the instrumental. They could have put some other lyrics on this tune and it would have been a knockout favorite for me. The harmonica in this song, beautiful. But I just can't deal with it. Once again, if you like this song, more power to you. I just cannot with that one, I'm sorry. I really like the title of this one, and both the title and the song itself feel very Dean Winchester, and if this has never been used in Supernatural, it really should be. Like, I feel like this would genuinely go so well with the first few seasons of Supernatural. The lyrics are short and simple, but in this one you can feel the meaning of the song in his voice, which is a true talent. It has this ominous feeling of knowing what things would be like if your circumstances were better, but acknowledging that they're not. I also think that if this song had been redone later on with Christine McVie on the piano, it would be a standout track for them. But I actually really enjoy it. I enjoy it mostly for how much it reminds me of Dean Winchester, but I do really enjoy it. On Shake Your Moneymaker, we go back to the vibe of having the demo-style sounding openings to the tracks. This is another one where the instrumentals shine above everything else in the song. This song actually reminds me a lot of the Beatles music that was being created around the same time. I think that it would fit in really well with the Let It Be vibe. After all, one day Mick Fleetwood and George Harrison would be brother-in-laws, and they would be brother-in-laws because of the girl that George Harrison and Eric Clapton fought over, but that's a different story that I want to do a video on. I think that this song has so much potential instrumentally and is acceptable to be on a debut album. It's rough around the edges, but it's pleasant to listen to. Once again, the lyrics are not something that I'm drawn to listen to just on a casual basis. It's not something that I plan on coming back to, but I can definitely appreciate the good aspects of it for the sake of reviewing it. The beginning of this song just really encapsulates the whole British blues vibe. Once again, I appreciate the instrumentals on this so much. The lyrics remain simple and non-memorable. This song is actually about the blues itself, and of course we throw in some lines about a woman because you can't ignore that. I absolutely love the beat in the outro, which is random, but that is my favorite thing about the song. That part of the song is such an earworm. It doesn't stick out as a track, but it like kind of puts me in the mood of what genre I'm listening to and what time period it's from. This song opens with a condemning question: how many more years have you got to wreck my life? Which I think is very compelling. This song reminds me a lot of Janis Joplin California style blues. The repetitive instrumentals do a really good job of signifying the kind of broken record approach that the message of the story in the song has. I think that this song is the lyrical highlight of the whole album as far as lyric writing goes. I really love the ending, which kind of comes to a surprise when he says, "Now I'm old and gray, got no place to go. You got yourself a youngster, you can't stand me no more." It makes you like really feel for Peter Green here. We are fed up with her BS. I still don't think this will be a withstanding favorite song for me, but this is a highlight of the album and the best lyrical endeavor that they take on the album. In my opinion, once we get to My Baby's Been Good to Me, we get into serious filler territory in the album. Lyrically, we are complimenting the physical features of a woman. The lyrics are really nothing special. She's referred to as a little girl far too many times for my liking. I know that this was kind of the trope when referring to young women in music in those days, but it was just very redundant. This song sounds so similar to Heartbeat Like a Hammer, like literally so similar. The music kind of starts blending together at this point because of the similarities with things we've already seen on the album, and the song is just incredibly forgettable in my opinion. I really quite enjoy the instrumental and vocal tone on this. The opening instrumentals are beautiful, as is the instrumental solo. The lyrics are simple and don't really make an impression on me. The entire song can be summarized by one lyric: "I loved another woman, now she's up and she's gone." Takeaway from the song: don't be a cheater. Did I hear World Turning? The fact that there's a song called World Turning on the other self-titled Fleetwood Mac album is kind of funny. However, I'm really just not gonna act like the lack of grammar in this song title doesn't drive me up a wall. I really want to pretend that that grammar is not a thing. It opens and it maintains this really nice acoustic guitar lick that I really like. I kind of feel like this was World Turning off the 1975 album in like its teen phase where it didn't really know what it wanted to be yet. I realize that these are not the same song and I'm probably only drawing these parallels because of the similarities in the title, but I can't help but make the comparison. The outro instrumental of this one is really impressive though. Got to Move just instrumentally sounds like a really good conclusion track for the album. The little section where he says, "I'd rather be dead and in my grave than to see another man take my place." But any admiration I had lyrically for this part of the song is pretty much crushed already by the lyrics that precede it. The lyrics of this song are so dated 50 years later. So dated. This man literally says, "You won't cook. You won't wash. You won't iron. You won't sew. You won't even scrub the floor." Like what? And for that I say, thank you, next. Overall, I have to acknowledge that this is the debut album and the band were just finding their footing. However, it shows the great instrumental experience that all of the members had already gained from the Blues Breakers. There are some absolutely stunning instrumental moments on this album, and I totally understand that this very simplistic lyric style was very, very common in blues music at the time, but I feel like those types of songs are just not what appeal to me personally. The only songs that I would really want to come back to are Hellhound on My Train and No Place to Go. But honestly, I really don't see myself coming back to those. None of these songs are really ones that I'm excited about. As I said, it sometimes felt like work to have to come back to this album, but they have potential at this point and I'm excited to see them grow in their career as this series progresses. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the beginning of this series. Please go check out my previous videos. I'm actually uploading 2 videos today. One was a video I was supposed to upload last week, and it is my January music favorites, and in that I talk about some music that I was very excited about in January of 2019. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see the rest of this series, and comment and let me know what you think. Tell me what your opinions are on the album. Follow me on Twitter at BrookeJNelson, and if you haven't heard, please do me a huge favor and look up #JusticeForAlyssa or the Alyssa Turney movement. You can find lots of information about it on my Twitter, as well as information and resources on it in the description of this video. It's a cause that means a lot to me, and it would really mean so much if you would take a moment to hear it. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.